Before we get started this meeting, I would like to say that as I go through the agenda, I will ask for a motion and a second on the agenda items requiring a vote. I will then allow questions only as it relates to the current agenda item under consideration using the microphone. Guys, in the back, can you please lower your voice, please? Thank you. Persons using the microphone must first state their first and last name and their lot numbers. Then I will call for a vote. The vote will be taken by show of hands or ballots. When the meeting is adjourned, I will open the floor for questions, and all questions must be made using the microphone in the center, on the side of the floor. In order to be fair and provide an opportunity for the most people present to access the microphone, the speaker will be limited to either one statement or one question with an option for one follow-up question. If the same speaker wishes another turn of the microphone, they must go to the end of the installment of the assembly. In accordance with Article 49 of the Rules and Regulations, the required notice was made to all associates belonging to the condominium residents in El Dorado branch of EDR Group, in accordance with the Article 49, Fraction F. Excuse me, Secretary. Guys, could you please lower your voice because we are already starting our meeting. Thank you. In accordance with the Article 49, Fraction F, I will preside the assembly on presentation of the administrator and designate Mrs. Sarina Valverde as the secretary for the assembly. Quorum. 10 a.m. At first call, we have not reached the quorum. I am going to ask Mrs. Sarina, our secretary, to give me the number of people already registered. I think so. That wasn't effective. Thank you. Okay, Sarina, once you have the numbers, please take them to my table. I am sure we have not reached the quorum, so we will wait another 15 minutes for the second call. And as soon as I get the numbers, I will let you know how many people we have registered. Developer votes 3008. So right now we haven't reached a quorum, so we'll wait for another 15 minutes. The people who has not registered can do it now outside, so they can be registered legally. While we wait, I am going to take the opportunity out of the agenda to talk a little bit about the pandemic, because we are living the pandemic, but we tend to forget all the problems that this situation has caused. Last year, in 2021. We were in orange most of the year in the county, and sometimes even in red in Mexico. So what happened with this? All the people who was over 60 years old, everybody who has mobilities like overweight, whatever, high pressure, high blood pressure, diabetes, whatever, they were sent to their houses by the government with total benefits and payment. What happened? We lost around 35% of our labor force. They were still working for us, they got paid, but we don't have them working in La Ventana or EDR. So we were short of people almost for the whole year. This caused a lot of work to be delayed. 1 year. Because the people start working by the end of more or less July this year. For sure, not all of them, because there was still restrictions and so on. Excuse me. Sarina is telling me that there are some people who has not registered that yet. Please, you can register with her outside. Please go now. So this is just to know, so you know that we know there are things that we are behind, but we are still losing people. And I don't know if you have checked it out in San Felipe, for example. There's a lot of need of people to work. You go to restaurants, all of them we need people everywhere. I don't know why. It's very strange, but it's all around. So we are having to hire new people too. Some people who went out, never come back. Some of them even pass away with COVID. The guy in San Felipe and not here, fortunately. But that was the situation. Now we are going to live in new conditions that we are in. And we try to, like we say, surf the wave the best we can. But we will go ahead. Okay, we will wait the rest of the time so we can go to the third call. Thank you for your attention. Proxies 45 and developer 2008. We have to wait for the third call. I'm sorry, but I have to follow the protocol in order to make it as legal. 10:28. We are on time. Okay, thank you for your patience. We'll wait for the third call and then we will go on with the meeting. Okay, I have the final number. I have to make a correction. In the last number I say 45 proxies. My mistake. I can show you the paper. It's 6 proxies, but I understood it like 45 prox. So it's my mistake. We did have 27 right now. We have 28 proxies. Owners present 119. Total of owners 3,155, developer 3,008 votes. Okay. So at this time we proceed with the next item in the agenda, which is to select 2 clerks from the audience. For this I would like to have 2 volunteers. Please, whoever wants to be the volunteer, raise your hand so we can get your name, and you will be voting. You will be counting the votes when there is called a voting with ballot, and at the end of the, we have one over there. Thank you. Who else? We need two. Okay, we have a second one. Thank you very much. Sarina, could you write their names, please, so we can announce properly? Las dos señoras que están ahí, junto al señor del sombrero. Y dime sus nombres, please, para anunciar. Okay, thank you to Nicole Coger and Martha Holzen. Thank you very much for your help and your participation. Okay, now that we have all our processes fulfilled, the General Assembly meeting is now called to order. The first item in the agenda is to approve the November 2019 Ordinary Assembly meeting minutes as recorded in Mexicali and posted in the HOA. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Second, please. Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hands. We will do this by now. Okay. Our clerks, do you think they are more than enough to approve the minutes? Please raise your hands again. Okay. It's enough. Thank you. So the minutes are approved. Now I would like to introduce you your current Supervisors Committee, presided by Mr. Dick Peterson, President of the Supervisors Committee. Ed Jones, a member of the Supervisors Committee, and Stephen Joseph. Let me tell you that I really appreciate all the hard work that the committee has been doing during these last 2 years in the pandemic and all that, and with the ones who have served longer, like Ed and Dick. Thank you very much. I appreciate, and we will be meeting, as always, soon. Okay, Mr. Dick Peterson will now represent the Supervisory Committee report.
Thank you, Roberto. I don't have a PowerPoint presentation. I don't have some fancy colored digital presentation. I have a report that Ed and Steve and I have talked about, different topics, and we'll present that at that time. But before I begin, back in 2019, after I think it was like the one and only town hall meeting we had, Ed and I were approached by a couple of residents, I think in Los Fierros South, and asked us if we would meet with a group of their residents, which we jumped on because that's what we like to do, get into the community and talk to all the people. So we welcomed the chance to talk to them. But we found in discussion that they really didn't know who the management team was, both for the company or for the HOA. So at this time, I just want to take a couple minutes to introduce your management team, both for the company and your HOA. First, I think we all know Pat Butler, Pat Doreen. Doreen's not with us today. She's went up to help plan her daughter's wedding, which has been postponed several times, and it's going to be next week. The executive administrator of the company is Jason Solomons. He has been with Pat for years. In charge of the company's physical plant, as well as the golf course, is Jason Velarde. In charge of the pavilion facility, the pro shop, Lapa Lapa complex, and the Quechanilla pool, food and beverage, is Aaron Cornejo. He is new to the company. Aaron? Now, for these people and their staff work with the HOA, they are not HOA employees. Rather, they're employees of the company. You all know Roberto sitting up here. Roberto is the administrator of your HOA and appointed by the company. Working with Roberto is your HOA staff and the employees of the HOA. Operations manager, Ricardo Perez, standing over there. Ricardo is in charge of maintenance, security, etc., and has been with us since 2007. In charge of security, working with Ricardo, is Joaquin Lesquez. Joaquin has been with the company and with the HOA since 2005. The TRC head, or Technical Review Committee, is Ricardo Montano. Ricardo, standing back there. Ricardo oversees all permits, violations, and has been with the company and the HOA since 1995. Originally with the company and now an employee of the HOA. Ricardo works with a volunteer committee of residents that approves all permits, requests, and looks at violations that people have either reported on or the committee has come up with. Now, here's the most important guy, the money man. Eduardo Garcia, or Lalo as he's known, is able assistant. Where is Alex? Lalo has been with us since 1996, and Alex has been with us since 2005. I don't think Jorge is in here, is he? Jorge, I think everybody knows in activities, is head of activities and is able assistant David. Jorge has been with the HOA since 2008 and David since 2003. Last but not least, Zorina, head of your customer service department, and helped by Lolita and Jose. Zorina is the newest one of your HOA team. She's been here since 2016. Standing before you a few years ago was your supervisor, the late Steve Kimming. Steve, along with Ed and I, were working to make the HOA website more user-friendly. Without Steve, Ed and I faced many challenges, and I'm going to discuss some of these challenges at this time. One challenge was to find a web administrator that would work with us to accomplish the website issues and making it more user-friendly. Lo and behold, I found that there was a resident right here on the ranch whose business was web development. Ed and I met with her and convinced her that she should work with the HOA. Our proposal was presented to the administration, They interviewed her, and an agreement was reached. There was about a year and a half delay in the whole thing because of the pandemic and not being able to meet with people and everything. You may know her for her Monday morning 7 a.m. walks on the golf course, or her Wednesday morning walk out of the Equestrian Center. Christine Buffalo. The monthly newsletter was another challenge as Steve Kimmy was formulating that. Once again, Ed and I met, put our heads together, and came up with a solution. Now, believe me, the person that Ed selected and suggested really drove a hard bargain. She wanted to change the format to an actual newsletter. Like, what a concept. Well, what do you expect? She's a teacher and administrator. So, she drove a hard bargain, but Ed and I negotiated a contract with her for a staggering $0. You may know her from her playing the tennis courts or her toes in the sand. I affectionately call her Teach, Denise Lavin. Now let's get into some of the accomplishments that I've had over this past year. Permits and TRC revenue. As Pat had mentioned yesterday, there are permits for new homes totaling to date 13, 4 in La Botana and 9 in El Dorado. In addition to the homes and other revenue, including miscellaneous permits, palapas, walls, and everything, totaling year-to-date by the end of September was close to $51,000. By the end of this year, we're well on the way to seeing numbers that we haven't seen in years. Now, when I quote that 51, that is split between La Botana's HOA and their permits, and also Colorado. I'm just giving you a total number there. The resort fees in 2014. Your administration acted and created a resort fee that is charged to all short-term rental units. This was in consideration of the extra security and rules enforcement that was needed. These charges are paid to your HOA through the property management companies. The total through the end of September is almost $113,000. With 3 months to go to the end of the year, another record is in the making. These resort fees are for both HOAs split on a 70%, 30%, 70 for La Botana, Las Villas, and 30% for the ranch, because you all realize that the villas are the major rental units. Current challenges, or ongoing challenges that we have, security patrol and thefts. As Roberto indicated earlier, since the pandemic, we have been down on a number of security people, maintenance people, overall employees for the ranch. The Toyon gate, the Rancho Sol gate, is often closed. As opposed to paying overtime to keep those gates open, it was decided to close those gates when we do not have adequate staff to cover all the areas. It was felt that it's better to have security staff, 2 people at the pool all the time, than have somebody standing at the Rancho del Sol or Toyon gate, looking at the number of people in the pool and everything else, and security is better off, money spent there. I think that everybody is aware of the thefts that we've had at the ranch this past year. Although currently there hasn't been as many thefts as has been in years past. But let me assure you that the security department still does not take it lightly. With Mexican law, we cannot just accuse and interrogate someone we think has created the thefts. They must be caught with the goods or apprehended leaving the home. Regardless of how much inspection of vehicles at the gate by the security guards, stolen merchandise still leaves the range. And one thing I don't like, but I'll say it anyway, in some cases, it is believed that the residents, there are residents that are assisting in these thefts. But once again, they must be caught in the act. Some people have questioned whether there have been security patrols in the area, in their areas. On several occasions, I have checked with security and have seen the activities log that shows areas covered. They are patrolling all areas, but with lookouts and the thieves casing uninhabited area, it's hard to cover all areas. There was one incident when I was running safe with Michael Miles. We went to a lot that was supposed to have a trailer on it. We got to the lot, the trailer was gone. Mike and I called security. Security came over, looked, the trailer, no trailer. They went into the computer and showed the log that 2 days prior to us being at the site, the trailer was there. So they are checking, but once again, they can't check every lot, every 24 hours, being back and forth. As it turned out, the owner moved the lot, the trailer, from this lot in Los Fierros south to Los Fierros north. But they didn't pull the sheet out of the book. But it was able to be tracked through the security log. The infrared system that surrounds the ranch is working. If somebody breaches the invisible line, a warning goes off in the security office. Supervisors go out and track footprints or whatever, and if necessary, the policia is called. So that is one big area where we have cut down on thefts because of the infrared system. Somebody had commented a while ago about the Toyon and Rancho del Sol gates being closed, and people can walk back and forth. That was correct. There's infrared over those driveways as well that are turned on and off separately from the infrared that goes around the whole ranch. Remember, for those that are full-time, it's one thing, but those of you people that are part-time residents and snowbirds, you're the first line of defense for thefts. If you have a trailer at your home, consider taking the tires off or chain locking the trailer. If you have a vehicle that's left in your property, whether it's inside or outside, consider, I know most of us have older vehicles, consider taking the distributor cap off, removing the battery, making it harder for a theft to happen. Whatever you do can help deter thefts. There's been several ranch residents when, after supplying vehicle registrations for their cars and getting their stickers, they don't even have the cars on the ranch. Then they give the stickers to friends to enable them to freely enter the ranch. Beginning with the 2022 year, that won't be possible. There's a new type of sticker. It won't be able to remove. It will self-destruct if you try to remove the sticker from your windshield. Furthermore, to get your vehicle sticker, you must bring your current registration along with your car. The new sticker will be applied by an employee to your windshield, and I know this is going to be an inconvenience to all of us, but we didn't create the problem. Some of your fellow residents did. One area that has bothered Ed and I ever since I became a supervisor is the proxy-only way of voting. If you cannot attend a general assembly. Ed had diligently written a protocol for using an absentee ballot. And I had talked to the local notarial for guidance. There is nothing in our rules and regulations that says we can't have absentee ballots. The notario had determined that since the Mexican government had recently authorized absentee ballots, if we offered the proxy option along with the absentee ballots, it would be legal. However, legal counsel for your HOA had said just because it's not mentioned in the rules and regulations doesn't mean that we can do it. So, we are still trying to work with our legal counsel to get this resolved. We only hope that this option becomes a reality. Now, is there anybody in this room that would be an object to having an absentee ballot as opposed to the proxy? I hope we can get it done. Going forward, Ed and I have been actively involved in the annual budget planning. Currently, the cost of living in Mexico is running a little over 6%. Therefore, an 8% increase is scheduled for all HOA employees in 2022. As you probably have noticed in the budget that was mailed to you, there will be a 10% dues increase or maintenance fee for 2022. In keeping with the practice of the past couple of years, when you pay your dues early in December or January, you will get a 5% discount on the dues increase. If you pay it in February, a 4%, in March, a 3%. Also, those who elect to pay back HOA dues will be afforded the same discounts. We would like to get some of these back dues paid. There are many projects your HOA team would like to do. The kiddie pool that was in the capital expenditure report or wish list in the past year has been taken out. No money for the project. I designed and costed a food court building for the Ketchinia Pool Complex. About a $50,000 investment. Again, no money for the project. We must stay within budget guidelines, and sometimes that becomes difficult. With the redesign of your HOA website, after you log in, the first screen you will see is the site map. On the site map, on the right-hand column, you will see various categories for action requests. These requests include request for action, get your road graded, get yard waste picked up by the ecology department, report a light out somewhere, but anything that you feel is beneficial to get corrected, please use the request for action. Guest registration, if you have somebody coming on the range, as opposed to going to the office and filling out a report, you can go to the website and register those guests. Violation report, rules, violations. If you see what you think is an abandoned vehicle or a car that doesn't belong to the lot or a motorhome, the request for action on a rule violation goes directly to Ricardo Antonio. Ask a supervisor and ask an administrator. If you have a question for any one of us, ask a supervisor. It goes to the three of us, as well as Roberto. If needed, I confer with the other supervisors, and we form an answer for one person answering the question. And several times it's a very simple answer. Just the other day we got some over 7,700. The guy wants to sell his lot. I live in Florida. Well, we got to forward that out of the sales department. Please use these options, because when you post complaints on Facebook, there isn't anyone that can help you or factually answer your question. We shouldn't be airing our dirty laundry to the general public. We welcome your suggestions. For example, one resident sent me a text, asked me, have you ever gone to the pool, the Ketchinia pool at night? Which I hadn't. said, you know, take a drive over there. There's no lights. He was leaving, he tripped over one of the rocks there that divides the parking. Well, what a concept. So we got light poles sitting out in the storage area. They trenched, put up lights. So now there's lights at the pool at night. Using the spa, wherever, the pool's open at 10 o'clock at night. Now it's dark at 6 o'clock, as soon as it's dark at 5. But the pool area is visible. And it's all through a resident requesting some action. Another one, there was one of the steps going up in the kitchen pool, didn't have a handrail. Well, we looked into it. Well, it wasn't in the original design. But now, because of the request by one of the residents, there's a handrail going up to the steps. One area that people generally don't understand is the difference between TRC, Technical Review Committee, and your Supervisors Committee. Technical Review Committee is a separate entity for violations, people's comments, and everything else. We get, through Ask the Supervisor, requests on violations, which just happen to be passed on to Montano and the TRC group. TRC group, as I mentioned earlier, is a group of ranch residents and volunteers. Your supervisors, if there is a dispute in the TRC group and violations and they don't agree, the resident has the option to appeal this decision. This appeal of the decision can go to the supervisors to make the final determination. So we've got to keep these two areas totally separate. So if you have a violation issue and everything else, deal with TRC. If you have something that you want help with as far as the range goes, ask the supervisor. Pat had discussed, for those who were here yesterday, Pat had discussed a question that Tony had about the municipalization of San Felipe. San Felipe, the number 7 municipal. Currently, Jose Luis Dagnino is the president of the council that is formulating everything to be started in January 1 of 2022. All this stuff that they're doing has to be approved by the Congress in December. I have talked with Jose Luis, a friend of mine, and if we want to, we can have him come to people and speak to us about what the benefits are for the residents of El Dorado. When this gets approved by the Congress, all the taxes that we pay will stay in San Felipe. There's been estimates that right now 20, 25, maybe 30% of our taxes come back to San Felipe. The rest goes up to Mexicali. Another area that has come up is the illegal use of the open space. When the El Dorado Ranch, I think it's 35,000 acre development, was approved, roads, building structures, and everything else were all approved. The open space is not to be driven on. Profeta can come out if they see illegal usage of the open space area. They can come out and fine your HOA. Now, last year when the 250 was running and started here at the ranch and they went out to the ATV track, I was at the fence at the west end of the property. A couple people came up, blazing across the open space, and then, what are you doing here? Where are you going across? I'm a resident here. I can drive anywhere I want to. No, I'm sorry, you can't. And so one gentleman that was pretty blatant, I took out a piece of paper and started writing his number down. I said, what are you doing? I said, write your number down. You can't be driving know where I want to. And what did he do? He started going inbound on the outbound live racetrack. Well, we got him off of that pretty quick. But open space is open space, it's green space. It's called green space because there aren't any roads there. And I hope everybody would enforce that. If you see people that are not, going along and staying in the open space, let us know. Call security. They will come out and they will investigate. By now you've all seen the new road, the frontage road across the highway that goes from the La Montana or the electric road across to the Hacienda del Sol Gate. About a year and a half ago, we asked Jesus Alamos to work with the federal, state, whoever, to let us put in a legal left-hand turn lane when going northbound at Hacienda del Sol, and also to correct the gate going into the gate at Vista Del Mar. They refused. Now, if you make a left-hand turn lane, make a left-hand turn into the lane going into Hacienda del Sol, that's an illegal turn. I know it's filled in. We've had a request for action to fill in the berm because it's divoted out. They can be filled in legally. So the administration came up with a viable alternative. So now you have a nice red dirt, smooth road going northbound, either out of the ranch, out of the La Montana, or northbound from town. You make a legal left-hand turn at La Montana. You cross the road, you make a right-hand turn onto the two-lane red dirt road, and it takes you right to the Hacienda del Sol Gate. I was talking to Roy Quick this morning, and I was down the road. I didn't notice it, but Roy said they have put signs up there already. In the future, that area across Hacienda del Sol, there will be breakaway ballards with legal tape put on there, so to prevent people from making a left-hand turn, a legal left-hand turn. Also, down at the Vista Del Mar Gate, where people are going across the berm, once again, they want to fill it in, we can't. There are going to be breakaway ballards put across that area. You drive the additional 100 feet, make a legal left-hand turn, U-turn, go up into the gate. One gentleman brought up this morning that, so feel for him. So if you're coming out of the Hacienda del Sol Gate, it's not too bad because you can make it, if you want to go northbound, so you come down, you're going south to the north. But if you have the Vista Del Mar Gate, you've got a little bit farther way to go before you can make a legal U-turn. Tony brought up, people have commented about the Saltillo Road issue and grading. There is no set schedule for grading that road. It is on a need basis. Generally speaking, Wednesday and Saturday is when the road is watered between that time. We may be able to go 3 weeks before grading the road, 4 weeks or whatever. They have instituted and put up signage on the road that says heavy equipment, stay left and right. They're trying to do the grading or smoothing out of the frontage roads first, so it's not a waterborne area. And they even have posts across there that, if they put up the tapes, prohibit you from driving on Saltillo Road. It's interesting, if you, I did this last night, Google the word washboard roads. And it's interesting the amount of money that have spent by different companies trying to figure out how to get rid of a washboard road. You can't do it. The only way that is recommended is by a blade, a grader, to get rid of the high and low points. Dragging tires, everything else changed. It's not going to do it. You have to smooth out the road. And one of the studies I looked at last night, the only way you can eliminate the washboard road is drive 3 to 5 miles an hour. When I'm going down that road, some are going 50 and 60. That all contributes to the deterioration of that road. So think about it when you're complaining about how bad the road is. Look at your speedometer and see how you're going. As supervisors, we welcome, as I mentioned earlier, we welcome meeting with any of the residents in a group. You know, we're not going to initiate a meeting. If you want to get together, have a neighborhood party and everything, or whatever, we gladly come and meet with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dick. I think so. It was a very informative report. Clarifies a lot of questions that were done and answered many other ones that were running around. Thank you again to all the committee for your hard work. This is a teamwork, always. Okay, the next item in the agenda is number 7, which is the appointment of the, we have the designation of the President of the Supervisory Committee is here, and this is appointed by the developer, Mr. Pat Butter. Would you please appoint the President of the Supervisors Committee? Perfect. Thank you very much. So, Dick, do you accept again? Yes. Thank you very much. So we have our President of the Supervisory Committee appointed by the developer. Number 8. Congratulations to both, and the HOA too. Now we have number 8 is the nomination and election of 2 supervisory committee members in accordance with Article 66 for a 2-year term. I received 3 candidacies by email. I will ask the candidates to present themselves and give us a presentation of their backgrounds. Their information have been presented to the residents beforehand in the newsletter. And the presentation of candidates, I make it in accordance with the years that they have served in the committees. So first one goes, Mr. Jones, please.
Can you hear me now? Okay, God, it's great to see you guys. It's been too damn long. Excuse my French. I also speak Greek and German. Now, I'm seeing some new faces here. I know most of you know me. But having said that, for the new guys, the old-timers bear with me. Let me give you a little bit of history and a little bit of background. My name is Eddie Jones. My wife of 43 years, Maria, and I have lived here full-time for 18 years. We both are permanent resident status. Maria is Latina from Puerto Rico, and I speak fairly good Spanish. I know 3 words: sí, no, cerveza. So that's all you need down here. We owned up to 6 properties during the time we lived here. We now live in Palos Verdes North, a mixed-use community. My contact information is on the website. I've had the distinct privilege of representing all of you for the first day, since the first day the HOA was formed in January of 2005. I sincerely hope you will give me the opportunity to continue to represent you. There's more work to do. It never ends. Dick Peterson is appointed the President of the EDR HOA Supervisory Committee by the developer, which just occurred. Today you will be voting for 2 supervisors. Now here's a summary of some of the successes we've had as your supervisory committee that I have personally participated in. We've had great cooperation from Roberto Islas, the HOA manager, and his team, and from from Pat Dory and Butler developers. Now keep in mind, this is really important for you to know. Supervisors have absolutely zero authority. We can't sign checks, we can't direct the workforce. The only thing we can do is use our persuasive powers and working with the HOA to keep the HOA as healthy as possible and the value of our properties as good as possible. Now here are some of the supervisors' accomplishments I have personally participated in. We negotiated a new contract with Baja Medical Center, saving your HOA tens of thousands of dollars a year. Now this is very important for you to know. Dick Peterson and I serve on the BMC Advisory Board. We review quarterly reports from them so we know who's using the BMC and how many are residents and how many are not. We meet with the owners of BMC and are very direct with them when we have some dissatisfaction or complaints from the residents. We installed a new bilingual proxy coordination program that ensures all owners who can't be here can get their proxy voted as they desire. It's a protected program and it's working pretty good. Now, for my money, the proxy is a very difficult thing to use. And that's why your supervisors, particularly Dick and I, have worked very hard to try and get this absentee ballot thing installed. Now, it's not a dead issue. We personally designed the protocol, the procedure, and the ballot itself. We had it approved by the local notario and attorney. We presented it to HO management and it was well received. It's not a dead issue. Trust me, we want everybody to have a chance to vote when they can't be here. I personally led the effort once a owner initiative was submitted to have seaside renters use seaside facilities. We were successful doing that, and you guys who paid for the mountainside pools, we got those pools turned back to you so you can use them because you paid to build them and you paid to maintain them. So that was a great success. We've re-established a great relationship with Pat Butler, the developer, which was kind of destroyed a few years earlier. We've got a good communication relationship with Roberto Islas and his team. Let me tell you something that I'm going to deviate a little bit here. It's something you guys probably don't know. Pat, are you listening? You don't know this. Pat Dory Butler donated $1.5 million worth of equipment to the HOA the day we were formed. I'm talking about road graders, computers, office equipment, a telephone system, and so forth. Now, how do I know it's $1.5 million worth? Charlie Haddon and I spent 3 months looking at hundreds of documents to evaluate the value of that, because technically that's a debt for the HOA to pay back to the developer. Also, that donated to the HOA through a comodato agreement the property where our pools are. That property is valued at about $1 million. Pat also paid $1 million to have telephone and Wi-Fi. The telephone and Wi-Fi. The building and the antenna at the entrance of La Ventana was paid for by Pat Butler around this time. Folks, that's about $3.5 million. That was a debt to the HOA. He has never asked for one penny to be repaid. As stressed as he is financially, he has never said to the HOA, "You owe me money, pay me back." Now, one more thing about Pat, and Pat, thank you so much. Where we have our security offices and our accounting offices, that's on prime developer land. We did not pay one penny of rent to Pat Butler for that. Again, technically, we're two separate corporations. He could charge us. So thank you very much, Ben. As for me personally, I have either chaired or served on just about every committee that the HOA has ever set up. I chaired the first financial committee that split the two HOAs, financially deciding who pays what and how much they're going to pay, and if there's any expenses that can be shared, who pays what percent. I chaired the Commodore Committee when the developer donated the property for our community center. I served on the legal committee that confirmed that all development papers are fully legal, properly registered. We had some very negative people who tried to say they were illegally in place, so we spent a little bit of HOA money, we proved them wrong. Now, the monthly budget, or the annual budget, is one of the most important things. It's how your money gets spent and how we collect your money. Your supervisors are deeply involved in this budget process. We get 42 reports every month that the supervisors meet with the HOA management and the developer. Now, if there's a violation or going over budget on any single item, we ask for answers or justification so we can report back to you. Yeah, we went over budget, here's why. For example, we had a certain amount of budget for fuel, and as you know, fuel's going crazy, so yeah, we're a little bit over budget. But we will take that into consideration for next year. We have an exceptional working knowledge of the Mexican Baja laws, the CCNRs, the rules and regulations, and the articles of incorporation. These ruling documents can be found on the website. Probably most of you haven't read them. I encourage you to do so. We're working very closely with our new website administrator, Christine Buffalo, to make the website more user-friendly. That's a pretty big job we've been working at for a long time. We asked and received permission from the developer on his property to develop world-class pickleball courts. He let us do that, no rent. We now have pickleball, we have tennis, and we now have avoided conflict between the two clubs. Our goals are to continue being deeply involved in running the HOA, improve the HOA website, continue to tighten expenses, and keep the quality of life intact. We will work closely with any new investors tomorrow when they come. Now, this is really important. I got $50 invested in these shirts. I'd like to wear them for 2 more years.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you much. The next candidate to speak is Mr. Stephen Joseph. Please come to the microphone. Grab the micro, please.
Is the other one?
People have asked me why I wear a cowboy hat all the time. Well, as you can see, I'm built close to the ground, so they acknowledge me being there when they see the cowboy hat. Most important part is, I'm getting a lot of questions as, is a cowboy hat hide your bald head? I'm here today to point out I have a bald-headed head. I want to welcome everybody here today. It's a nice group that we have here. I don't know whether or not you all read the resume that was posted. I'll try desperately to go over it and keep it short. After I was honorably discharged from the Army, I was hired by the Broadway department stores on the West Coast. I moved up the ladder to being a buyer, the sportswear for men. After that, I left Broadway and was taken in by Fabergé Cosmetics. How many of you guys have used Brood? Okay. I was instrumental in putting Brood on the market, and it was extremely successful. After that, I joined Christian Dior and was running the licenses in the department stores for women's products. In 1990, I sold our home in Las Vegas, Nevada, and my wife Susan of 44 years and I moved down to Las Vegas and built a home there. And I was president of the HOA for 8.5 years and worked with the developer to write CC&Rs and put together an HOA. It was very successful and it worked out real well. In 1995, I joined some companies here in Las Vegas and put products on the market for hospitality, such as takeout boxes, flatware, posters, things of that nature. And was very successful for that. We had a $1 million increase every year because of the hotels needing somebody that was located in Las Vegas. In 2012, I left the company I was with and opened up my own business. And my clients from the hotels joined me because of the fact that I was there. And we were able to get together every time they picked up the phone. My wife and I, Susan and I, purchased a lot here in 2005. And down the line, we were coming back and forth. And in June of 2014, we decided to build a home, and which was completed in 2015. In 2016, we sold our home in Las Vegas, moved here permanently, and got our permanent residence. In 2015, after we moved out here, I informed my clients in Las Vegas that I was moving to San Felipe payments. We got together, many of the hotels and the old restaurants that were part of chains, and asked me to stay with them because I had their art, and it was a very successful group of people that wanted no changes in their purchasing. When I was in Las Vegas, as I mentioned, I was president of an HOA for 8.5 years, which was very successful. It was not a big community like it is here. We had 128 homes. And with that, being in a gated community, we also had a revenue necessary for working on streets and within the gates, because inside a gated community, the responsibility for keeping up that community is turned back to the people in the HOA. I have a couple of reasons why I wanted to be an HOA supervisor. First of all, I want to be involved with the El Dorado Ranch moving forward after the pandemic. All of us have been put through a year or more of having to stick to being in our home and going nowhere. I've had a lot of people call me when they've had some problems. And with the knowledge of Pat Butler and Roberto Aisles, I've helped people out directly. I'm a person-to-person person, and work with people, for example, that number one in the Catchanita pool, there was no pool, no railing going down to the deep part of the pool. I got together with Dick Peterson, and we had that taken care of. There's a railing there now. I had another call on a Sunday one day with a person that was not far from where I live, that had, on a Sunday, as I said, had a contractor that was working in the neighborhood hit her electric CFE monument. I called some people that I knew at CFE. They came out immediately and they fixed the electricity for that home so that there was no breach in electricity at that time. I've also had calls from people that had problems with noise and lighting after the curfew time, and also the fact that the off-road vehicles were running up and down their street. I immediately got together with them when those problems were solved. I've been on the Supervisors Committee for a year, which started when Dick Peterson was moved up to president. I don't have the background that both Ed have and Dick have, but I'm learning fast. One of the important things is, for all of you, I want to make sure that you know that I am available. You'll have my number, my email, and if you have an emergency, all you have to do is pick up the phone, and I'll be there. In conclusion, I have had experience with budgets from many businesses that I've been involved with, and with the fashion industry, and the jewelry industry, and the hospitality industry. I will stay informed of what's going on with the reports, finances, and make sure that we have a person-to-person availability for anything that you have that comes up that you need taken care of immediately. I want to thank you. I didn't think I was going to go as long as the other gentlemen, because I can see that a lot of you are ready to get up and just shake your legs up. So let me know if I can help you with that and have a shape or form, and I'll be there for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Now, the last candidate for the supervisor's position is Mr.
One pipe at a time. We have to understand what the problems are before we can fix them. Now, when I was thinking about this whole supervisor thing, it wasn't really in me to be a supervisor. It must be a spam call. I wasn't really thinking about it, but when I spoke to some friends, I do have some, they started telling me, we need new blood. We need fresh perspective. We're not happy with this. We're not happy with security. We're not happy with the roads. We don't feel part of the community, part of the HOA. Some people who had served on committees here before told me, you're wasting your time. It's a